Hello folks, and welcome to an InkDependence.com brief video review and water drop test. This time we have the wonderful Kaweco or Kaweco Blue. This one's provided for me by JetPens.com. Thanks very much, Elena at JetPens, for hooking me up with this little bottle of Kaweco Blue. These come in cute little bottles. They look like this. Just not a very big... Oh, goodness. Oh, this is my iPad. Here we go. It's a little bottle. You can see by the size of my thumb. I was going to have another bottle. Oh, I do have another bottle. Hold on a sec. I have a bottle of Waterman. We're all familiar with Waterman. This is a pretty common ink. There we go. Those two bottles, pretty much the same size, but the Kaweco one is 20 mils smaller. This is a 30 mil bottle, which is, pretty small. Also, these are fairly expensive, but it is usually very good ink. This one is a little bit of a purpley blue. It's not my favorite of the Kaweco inks. I really like their sepia tone. I know it's sepia, but I like sepia better. I also like their green quite a bit, and their red is excellent. But the blue is kind of a purpley blue. Actually, so is this Waterman. We'll get to the Waterman in the future. But this Kaweco Blue is a bit of a purpley blue, which is not my favorite tone. But nonetheless, quite a good ink. It's a bit on the wet side, so if you have a dry pen or a pen that tends to go dry on you, you just kind of lack flow on that pen. Try out this blue, because if you like the sort of purpley blue color, which is represented pretty well on my iPad here, it's picking this up. As I mentioned before, it doesn't do turquoise well, but it does purpley blue just fine. This one is a little bit watery, a little bit wet, so it's going to be good for some pens. It wasn't great for my Custom 74 because it's a pretty wet nib, so if you put a wet ink in a wet nib, you're going to end up with a lot of, well, it kind of looks like this. It's like kind of an indistinct sort of handwriting that it gave me. I wasn't really psyched about that. But in like I said, a finer nibbed pen or a dry pen, this would be a great ink. The Kaweco inks are really quite good. So check those out if you get them. You can find them also in cartridges where they're more reasonably priced. The bottles are a lot more ink, but also they're on the high side. They're usually around 18 bucks. So here it is compared to some other blues and a black that I had sitting around on my table. I have mostly dark blues inked up right at the moment, so this Kaweco Blue is kind of on its own. But you can tell it's much more purpley than either the Texas Bluebonnet, which is looking a little extra dark right there. It should be a little bit lighter, maybe. But it's also getting heavy flow from that pen. That's a big nib. The Anderson Pens Fox River Blues, which is kind of a real darkish blue, and then which is brand new from Anderson Pens. And then Noodler's Boston Brahmin, which is a real dark black. That is a super black. So you can tell this is much more of a purpley tone, almost a periwinkle, I'd say. So blue, maybe not. But although I say it's a blue, it doesn't actually, you'll notice, have any indication of a color or a name. Made in Germany, so there's that. But there's no name, so it may very well be that they mint entirely for this to be periwinkle, and I didn't know. So anyway, I sort of assumed it would be blue, and now when I look at it, kind of the label is about the same color as the text, so that might be on me. It might not be blue. It might be periwinkle. I don't know. They do have a blue-black that I haven't tried yet. Hopefully I will soon. I bet that's awesome. But this one, kind of periwinkle. Alright, let's see what it does with the water drop test here. I'm trying to figure out how to hold my iPad again. Alright, here we go. Back to using the old iPad because my iPhone is out of memory and I have to clean off some things. Alright. It looks pretty good, actually. Not a whole lot coming up. Oh, I can see it going through the paper there. So, let's go ahead and wipe it away. Wipe, wipe, wipe. And that's all we got. Just a little bit of a purple outline, which is not shocking, given the periwinkle sort of look here. Man, this pad. I'm going to stop using this pad. This is no more reviews on this pad. It's going right through. But the line's pretty good. You can see that some of the line work has gone away right in this area and here. But the dots stayed strong. It's actually a little bit hard to tell because of where that water went through the paper. It kind of soaked in, which is weird for rodeo. Alright. So, I sort of expected this kind of permanence. Here is the chromatography. It moved quite a lot, but you can still, you can see a lot of blue, a lot of purple, some violets in there, but also this blotch is where I originally put the drop of ink. And it was actually a fairly large drop of ink. Most of the time when I do chromatographies, I'll take this little letter opener here that looks like a tiny sword, and I will dip it into the ink, like thusly, and then I will just kind of poke it on the paper. But some inks are more, have like a better surface tension than others, and so they will stick around on your, they'll stick to your, I don't know, poking instrument, in my case, letter opener, better than others. And this one stuck really well. It's got a high surface tension, but it's also kind of wet and watery, so I got a lot. So you see a lot of color and a lot of movement, which is pretty good. But also some mild water resistance. So there you go. This has been Kaweco Blue, or maybe, hell, I don't know, Periwinkle? Which is a really good ink. It's got a little bit of bleed and spread just on copy paper. On regular paper, or on, you know, notebook paper, it's fine-ish. It depends on your nib. It's a little bit watery, so use a dry nib. But sometimes you have to adjust to those things. So, there you go. That's Kaweco Blue, and I will see you around.